Hello, I'm sure you're wondering why I'm down here. It's because this is a pond and this video is about a bathing suit, so water related. In this video I'm going to be making a 1940s bathing suit and beach coat. The bathing suit consists of the bra top, trunks or shorts and skirts. There's going to be 4 pieces total. Once it's made I'll then be trying it out in a swimming pool. This is the timestamp somewhere to where the swimming pool trying out takes place, because this is my first video, my first ever attempt, So for the shorts there are 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces. Each piece has a dart in. You then connect the 2 back pieces together and the 2 front pieces together. So you have 2 pieces. Those 2 pieces get connected at the side, with the left side, or you hope it's the left side, being left open for the side opening. Next, the instructions say to clip left seam diagonally to medium perforation. Once that's done, you have a tube which you then stitch together by the underseam, and you have what starts to look like shorts. You need to hem the leg holes of the shorts, which means folding up the edge by 1/2 inch and stitching that in place, trimming that down to 1/4 inch, and then fold the edge another 1/2 inch and stitching that in place again. Do that on both legs. Then you move on to the lining fabric. It's made from jersey, so you need a particular stitch and a jersey needle. It's all the same steps as the outside fabric, except at the hemming of the leg holes you leave a gap open so you can thread through the elastic. I did have footage of this, but it was unflattering. We then move on to join the lining fabric and the outside fabric together. To do this, you put the fabrics right side together and join them along the bottom of the side opening, which I think I cut it wrong. If you remember, I said I cut it earlier. I cut it wrong. I ended up having to do it and do it over and over again because they'd be fine when you turn them the right way round. So the wrong sides were then together. It was all puckering and yeah, it just wasn't distributed evenly, so I must have unpicked and repicked and tried different things at least 10 times, if not more. But eventually I did it. It's not how exactly it's supposed to be, because whenever it's worn you have a keyhole of skin visible. You then continue the lines up to join the 2 side pieces together with the side opening, turn it the right way round, and then I baste our lining fabric and the outside fabric together and move on to attaching the waistband. I differed from the instructions, so I put the waistband and the other fabric right sides together and stitched them together, and the waistband was too short. So I then measured the waistband and measured the waistband of the shorts, and I reduced the size of the shorts at the right seam by the size I thought I needed, but it was still too long, so I reduced a bit more. The shorts were way too short for the waistband, so I then unpicked that and tried it again, and it just kept going back and forth. But eventually I got there, stitched the side, flipped it over and slip stitched the back of the waistband in place. Next were the buttonholes. To do the buttonholes, I did try doing them by hand, but the fabric is just too flimsy, so it just looks terrible. So instead I did it by machine, which is fun to watch. And then applying the buttons. Bitchin'. This is the bra cups. I've attached the lining, top stitched, created casings for the cord so you get the nice little peephole action, or even cute little fishy. It could be a talking flower from Alice in Wonderland. You're an awful person, go away, leave us alone. I don't remember what they say. And finally, gathered the fabric to be able to fit into the shoulder straps. Then I'm going to top stitch this and I'll be onto the ties, and then I'll see you once that's done. So I have attached the bottom band to the main cups, and I'm going to be slip stitching the facing on and then top stitching all the straps to match up with the rest of the bra. The only real thing that I'm deviating from the pattern is, if you can see here, the bottom of the peephole is all frayed, and they wanted that to be exposed on the outside, so I've just covered that up. So it means I'll have to go over that by hand. But this is Daphne, and she's modelling the lovely bra top for us. I've attached the underband and then top stitched all around, and all I need to do now is button and buttonholes so the shoulder straps and the bra strap attach. And it's really lovely because they cross at the back. The main body of the skirt consists of 3 pieces. For the front piece with the curved edge, the instructions say, crease along lines of medium perforations, being creased nearest upper edge to line of small perforations, then stitch in place. I only use tailor's tacks and I don't differentiate between perforation sizes, so I had to get the original pattern piece out and compare them and try and figure out what it was telling me. So basically, you bring the larger holes to the smaller holes and then you stitch those together. You repeat that for 3 pleats. Once that's done, I join the 3 skirt pieces together, which involves 2 seams. I decided to do French seams as the skirt isn't lined and I want it to look neater. So you put wrong sides together, stitch, trim the raw edge, turn them the other way around, stitch again, and you've got the enclosed seam. So then move on to hemming the raw edge. I fold 1.5 inches up and then fold under 1/2 inch and then slip stitch the seam in place. I now move on to the ties. The pattern says to narrowly hem the edges, but I didn't like the way it looked, so I unpicked those and cut out black fabric so I could line the ties. The next, the pattern wants you to attach the waistband to the back of the skirt first, but that didn't work. And I also at this point discovered that the waistband was too short for the length of the skirt. So I put an extra pleat in at the front of the skirt and one at the back piece of fabric, which you can't see when it's worn, so it's fine. So I then attached the waistband to the front of the skirt first. I then attached one of the ties to the front end of the waistband, really secured that in because I do not want it to come off or to rip or affect the wear of the skirt itself. And then I slip stitched the waistband in place along the back. The other tie gets attached to the waistband along one of the side seams. And then finally there's the button and buttonhole. I did do the buttonhole by hand and it didn't look too bad here. I fell in love with this fabric because it reminded me of these 2 childhood My Little Ponies. So I'm not sure where I left you before the battery ran out, but I have now attached the shoulder seam and I'm about to attach them at the side seams on both sides. This is me just deciding which pocket I like the look of, and I think I prefer this one. It's just a bit more fun. This is just a bit plain and boring. Right now I'm doing the pockets. I've already turned over the top edge by 1/2 inch and I'm now going to be turning that edge forward to this top pink line. Blue Peter moment. This is one I've made earlier. So it gets turned over to the back and then this edge gets pasted on. I haven't slip stitched this edge down. Gosh, I just love this fabric so much. It reminds me of a deck chair. I've just pinned the facing onto the edge around the neckline of the jacket and now I'm going to sew this up. We all know what that means. This is the bottom edge of the sleeve. I folded it up by 1.5 inches and catch stitched it, and you can't really see. I'll do a close-up so you can see what it looks like, but the only thing I have noticed that I don't like is I didn't match up the stripes perfectly. With the armholes, one of them was really easy. I'm just plain sailing and wasn't a puff. It went without a hitch. But the other armhole, the armhole itself was too big for the sleeve. At the time all I could think of was to keep sewing the armhole smaller and smaller and smaller until it eventually fit. I can now think of better ways, but you know, eventually I was fine. I have turned up the hem by 2 inches and herringbone stitch. Also I'm just working on the facing now. Shoulder pads, 2 6-inch square muslin, cotton batting, based together, cut like sandwiches with scissors. Finally, sew 2 cotton pockets to encase the batting like a cheese and onion pasty. I've hand sewn the bottom of the shoulder pad and attached it to the seam excess lining fabric that I've just cut out. I'm using an old sheet so it should be nice and soft and absorbent, and this is the pattern piece. I've cut the lining along here and here because there's a facing in the coat and it's sewn exactly the same as the outside of the coat. So I've done the lining and I've folded over the hem before I put it on, so I thought that would be the easiest way to attach it, whereas the instructions say to fold the hem when it's all sewn together. So now all I'm doing is attaching the seam allowances together in a couple of places. So I'm not showing my face because I currently look like the shopkeeper from Fireman Sam. I'm just slip stitching all the lining to the outer coat fabric. I'm really chuffed a bit that I was able to do this, considering I don't have very much sewing ability or skill or anything. Overall, I just feel like the bra isn't that supportive. My baps are a bit too big, but otherwise the fit is very good. I really like the shorts and the skirt with the ruching and the bow. Coat just is quite comfy, and I absolutely love the fabric. It's only a bow and it's still held on. I like the fact you don't have to, you know, no taming of one's lady garden. Thank you for making it this far. I'll quickly put in a clip in of what the cosy looks like dry. And I know that the execution hasn't been that brilliant, but I'm still really impressed with myself and how well the cozies turned out. Just thank you for making it this far, honestly. Thank you. Thank you.